Welcome back, Stassis23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and today's knife is a budget model from Civivi Knives, and this is the Shredder. This guy comes in at $61. I picked it up at Blade HQ, and let's jump right into it. Let's get some specs out of the way. You have a pretty nice large knife here, total length of 8.5 inches, blade length of 3.75 inches, handle length of 4.75 inches. Thickness in this direction is 0.52, so a little above average. And the width in the closed position is 1 inch. And your blade stock thickness is 0.117, so not overly stout. And all those stats, this is usually not a knife that I would usually buy. But after looking over all the stats and kind of thinking about it and looking at the design, I think it fits pretty well. And the reason for that is the weight on this guy. For being such a nice large knife, it stays pretty slim. Look in there, and of course, all Civivi's, in Civivi fashion, you see all that internal milling on the stainless liners. Heavily milled out as much as possible. And they were able to get this 8.5 inch knife down to 3.74 inches. So that falls right under that ounce an inch rule that some people follow. Not me, but some people do. So if you do follow it, it fits that category nicely. Let's take a look at this blade. You have this classic drop point. You have a nice satin finish. Civivi does a pretty good job with their satin finishes on their budget models especially. You have a nice top swedge that thins that tip out to be a nice needle-like tip. You're definitely not going to do any light prying or any prying with this guy. I think this thing's geared for more of a performance knife, and I'll tell you why in a second. As you can see, this side is completely sterile. Flip it over, and it's sterile to the naked eye. You have to really zoom in right there. I don't know if you can see the D2 marking right there. I love the way they do that. Keep it nice and sterile. You have a, I don't know, an odd shaped hole, opening hole in the blade. You have some nice, well done jimping for all you jimping people. It definitely locks you in when you press down, so I call it a little bit above medium. You do have a forward choil. I think it's probably designed more of a sharpening choil, but I have skinny fingers and I can get my finger, I can choke up like this. Just got to be a little careful with it. But I also do like the way, as you can see, you have the dip right here. So even if you're choked back, your finger fits right on that jimping like that. Nice, nice pressure and power behind that cut. Let's see. Okay, we finished with the blade. Let's close this up. You have a very minimal flipper tab. I know some of y'all don't like big tabs sticking up. I just like them to be functioning good without hurting my finger. You have a little bit of jimping on the flipper tab. You do get good purchase. This knife is riding on bearings. And of course, I don't know how they do it, but Civivi, they know how to dial in a detent every time. I don't think I've ever had any Civivi that was a different action, but watch this. Nice and snappy action with that light blade. Comes out with authority. You can also use that opening hole, spotty flick it. You can slow roll it. And let's see if I can get it right. And you can thumb flick it. So that's a triple threat if I don't say so myself. Let's go back to the G10 scales. You have blue and black layered G10. As you can see, the peel ply black texture up here. And I call it medium traction. And then you can see the blue and black layers right there along the outside. Just a nice little added touch. And they had, I think, red and black, and then all black as well. They may have more out. This is just what I saw whenever I bought this at Blade HQ. You have their standard Civivi logo pivot. You have what I like to see, flush panhead screws. And they're all T8, another huge plus. Civivi, Weed just does an excellent job of listening to the customers. And as you can see, you don't have any lanyard hole breaking up the flow of this show size scale. They didn't forget about you. They put a post in the back right there. So it's nice and hidden. So if you want it, use it. If not, you don't have to look at it. And as you can see, you got 2 holes, tap or tip up left or right hand carry. And you do have a deep carry clip. Not my favorite clip, but it does the job. As you can see now here too, they also listened and they have countersunk flat panhead screws on the pocket clip, so you don't have to worry about it catching on your pocket when you're going in and out of it. It sits pretty darn deep. You just have about that much sticking out. That's way deep enough for me. You have pretty much 1-to-1 blade to handle ratio. As you can see, it's almost all the way to the end, and the back spacer comes up so you don't catch that blade. You can't touch the blade in the closed position either. It sits down far enough. It came, let's see. I have been using this a good bit, but it looks like it's still pretty centered. It might be like a hair off to the right. I don't think so. I don't know. Y'all tell me. I'm looking through the camera. Maybe a little bit off to the right, but I have been using this a good bit, so it may have loosened up a little bit. The access to the lock bar is nice. The liner sits proud, and you also have this jimping so you can catch that lock bar. It's not overly aggressive, and it's not too hard to push that lock bar over. They don't have overly strong tension. The ergos on this knife have been pretty darn good. Only thing I did notice whenever I was doing my wood shaving and wood carving, whenever I'd bear down in the hammer grip right here, you know, being that this liner is raised above the scale, whenever I'm squeezing down on there, it started to dig into my finger. It wasn't terrible, but I definitely could feel it. And I mean, just like the jimping up here, whenever I push down, that doesn't feel too good on my finger. That's just me. But overall, ergos are solid. You're really locked in. You have this finger choil to act as a guard. You have this ramp right here with the jimping. And like I said, some people will be able to choke up if you so shall choose. Sorry, I can't talk. Let's see, what else? Another thing that as soon as I started cutting with it, this thing cuts like a laser beam. And that is because they have a nice deep hollow grind. You can feel it. And in some areas, it goes down to 12 thousandths behind the edge. It goes into about 13 right here. And I think it was around 14 right here. So that is awesome to see. So far, the D2 has held up pretty good. I've stropped it up. That's all I've done basically. And let me see. Yeah, it's still got a good working edge on there. And this is the factory edge. It came super sharp. Let's get some size comparisons out of the way, and I'll kind of get my wrap up conclusions on this. Another Civivi knife that I picked up, I'll be reviewing probably after this one, is the Governor. These are very similar in size, in length. The Governor is just a hair longer than the Shredder. And I picked this guy up for the same reason I picked this one up, especially when I saw the thumb stud, because you don't see many thumb stud knives with Civivi. And then, God, I cannot remember the name of this one. It is Artisan's budget brand, the CJRB or whatever. I know this is designed after Dylan Mallory. This is Dylan Mallory's designed after his RKO. And as you can see, it comes up a little shorter than the Shredder. And two more last size comparisons. You got this Gerber flat iron that I'll be reviewing in the future as well. Flat iron is a little bit smaller. And then the Spyderco Shaman. And in length, it's a good bit, the Shaman's a good bit shorter than the Shredder. So there you go. There's a lot to love about We and Civivi. You know, they're bringing quality knives to the market. This is no exception. For $61, it's kind of hard to beat this if you're looking for like this performance-driven knife. Now some nitpicks. Now these are not really things that really bug me, but just some stuff I would mention. Being that this blade is ground so thin, and then it really thins up all the way to the tip, as you can see. If you grab it right here and move side to side, I can get a little bit of blade flex, but like I said, that doesn't shock me, and it's not, to me, it's not something wrong with the knife. I'm not going to pry with this guy. And like I said, the jimping, I don't really see a need for it. You have a nice flat spot right here, and you have this ramp, you know, and you got this choil right here, this back choil. I could have done without that. And this jimping, being that this is raised, like I said, it got a little uncomfortable for me whenever I was bearing down in the hammer grip. Other than that, the only other thing that I noticed, just because of the clothing I wear, is that this clip is sitting on this Peel Ply G10. So in certain clothing that I put this in and out of, it did want to grab onto it just because it was, you know, grabbing onto this texture, but I could always sand that spot down if I wanted to. So there you go. This is a Civivi Shredder. If you pick this knife up, let me know what you think about it. If you like the design, let me know why down in the comments section. Let's have a discussion down below. So far, like I said, I think it's a quality knife. They have, Civivi has a small Ferrum Forge collaboration knife that I saw at Blade West on a video, and I don't know, I don't think they've named it yet, but that's probably my favorite Civivi so far as looks. So I'll definitely be picking that one up. Let me know if y'all know what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already, think about subscribing. I do tons of knife content, and I enjoy making new friends in the community. All right, guys and girls, hope everybody's having an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.